2011 Census. In today's world, change is the only thing we can count on. How can we prepare for change so that future generations may experience the standards of living and way of life we all aspire to today? Let's start by finding out more about who we are as a nation. On the 27th of March 2011, we're asking everyone in England and Wales to get involved and help us with the latest census. Not only will the information gathered in the 2011 census help tomorrow take shape, it will also leave a personal footprint in history for future generations to discover. This is anything but a new idea. We know that nearly 6,000 years ago, the Babylonians conducted regular censuses, giving them an essential guide as to how much food they needed to find for each member of the population. Followed by the Egyptians who, as well as figuring out how much labour they would need to build their pyramids, were able to plan how they would share out the land after the annual flooding of the Nile. The most notorious ancient census was King David's, cut short by plague, which reportedly killed 70,000 and fueled a popular belief that census-taking was wrong in the eyes of God. The Romans conducted censuses every 5 years, calling upon every man and his family to return to his place of birth to be counted. 1086. William the Conqueror established Britain's version of the census with the Domesday Book. This work paints a remarkable picture of life at that time and is a vital piece of our national heritage. Many other countries have since woken up to this idea. 1789. After taking part in the storming of the Bastille, revolutionary pamphleteer William Playfair invents the bar chart. It's impossible to imagine now how any statistical survey could have worked without them. 1801. Ever since King David's catastrophic census, some churchgoers had feared censuses would bring about violent acts of God. Others thought it would threaten national security if enemies knew the makeup of the population and numbers of men in the armed forces. Essayist Thomas Malthus swept away such fears, observing that Britain would soon have more people than it was able to feed, leading to famine, disease, and other disasters. Thus the Census Act in 1800 won an easy passage through Parliament, and Great Britain launched its first official census on the 10th of March 1801. Carried out by John Rickman, the first census taker, it revealed that the total population of England and Wales at that time was around 9 million. 1841. The census taken in 1841 is widely regarded as the first truly modern census, when the first Registrar General of England and Wales, Thomas Lister, was made responsible for running it. For the first time, the head of each household was given a questionnaire to fill in on behalf of everyone in the household on a certain day. No one was exempt, not even Queen Victoria. Imagine trying to make sense of thousands of handwritten answers in the dim glow of candlelight. Many, we are told, were almost blinded by the experience. 1911. New century, new technology. How census takers must have marvelled at the mechanical counting machines clattering away, doing all the hard work for them. 1911 was also the year when many women refused to stand up to be counted, at least not by the census. Suffragette Emily Davison hid in a House of Commons cupboard, making that her address on census night. 1920. The current Census Act was passed and is still in place today, making it law for every household in England and Wales to complete a census questionnaire. 1939. The census missed the year in 1941 when the country was at war. A mini-census in 1939 was used to issue every British citizen with a national identity card. 1951. Women were asked to be more honest when giving their date of birth on the 1951 census form. Many were distraught, fearful that people would discover how old they actually were. The problem pages were full of it. 1961. The 60s. Changing times. Technology came to computerize the census, filled an entire office floor, and stored a massive 100,000 bytes of information. It took 5.5 years to produce the full set of statistics. 1971. By 1971, lifestyles had become more complex and changeable, and the census needed to ask more questions about family, work, and education. 1981. Public concerns about data protection prompted a study by the British Computer Society into census security. Since then, each census has been subject to an independent review of security arrangements, underlining our commitment to respect people's right to privacy and confidentiality. 1991. The Census Confidentiality Act was passed just weeks before the 1991 census, making it an offence for anyone working on the census to disclose personal information. This was the first census to advertise on TV, with its own logo and snappy slogan.
The census. It counts because you count.
2001. The switch over to the 21st century did not send thousands of computers crashing, plunging us into darkness and despair. The census went ahead with a lot less knocking on doors. Postback was used for the first time, saving the day in the face of a major foot and mouth outbreak. And to the joy of a vast army of amateur family historians, 1901 census returns were published on the internet. This allowed them to research actual census questionnaires from the past. But remember, all personal census data is protected for 100 years before it is released. In 200 years of census taking, the population has grown from just 9 million to 52 million. We've gone from this, to this, to this, and now this. Welcome to the 2011 Census Online.